Thank you for joining us in episode 33 of Your Welcome, the podcast where two dudes who don't know squat become experts on everything. I am Zach.
And I'm Drew.
And welcome to the show. This week we'll be relaying research on
Bullfighting.
and puppetry. My favorite.
Is this your, creepy puppet master voice, or?
Yes, absolutely.
Lovely.
Time to pull your strings, mister.
I'm just imagining, MOBA video games where there's, just different themed characters. There's just, the puppet master character that, maybe his ultimate ability is he takes over an enemy character for 5 seconds.
yes, and just has him gank the other people. That's awesome.
Yeah, great. Well, now that I've let my nerd show,
welcome to the show, man. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being a special guest. Oh, yeah.
Hey, how was your week?
I tell you what, man. I had one hell of a week. One hell of a week.
Say it again.
No, I've said it twice. It was okay. Not too great. I got home yesterday, and we were planning to record this on Thursday. We're at the time of recording. We're recording Friday. So to loosen up, I had went to what is that called? It's a big wine shop. It's like a supermarket for wine.
I can't help you.
Total Wine. There we go. Total Wine. You've never been in a Total Wine, I'm guessing, since you didn't know the name. No? Okay. It has one of the most confusing layouts ever. They tell you, oh, hey, here's this bottle. It's on aisle 1. You know where aisle 1 is? Along the wall.
Okay.
It's not an aisle. It's a shelf all along a wall, which is great. It's awful. So I walked all the way down, got what we wanted, and I also picked up some Tozai Snow Maiden sake.
Nice.
And it is delicious. It's pretty good. I'm having some right now. So that's how my week is going.
Oh, boy.
You go to a wine shop and just, yep.
How
about you, man? You get the good stuff.
Well, I did not get any good stuff this weekend.
Oh. Shame.
Yeah, exactly. Work was fairly straightforward. I ran some cable down some hallways. And that's pretty much all it's been so far. But today was eventful. So how we've been doing it is, 5 8-hour shifts. But this week, as a team, we decided to do 4 10-hour shifts so we would get a 3-day weekend. And we also decided as a team that on our off Friday, we would meet up at a rock climbing place for, a little team building activities.
Yeah, a little R&R. Like it.
So, yeah, I did some rock climbing today, and it's the first time I did that. It was a lot of fun.
Cool deal. Like actual rock climbing or like indoor?
Not like real rocks, no.
Oh, okay.
I did fake climbing on some fake rocks.
Oh, okay. you gotta clarify,
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun.
That's
it was interesting learning the different propulsion methods, I guess. Not really. Maybe not propulsion, propelling. Propulsion is for rocket cars.
The way to climb.
The methods in which you ensure that you do not fall at a heightened rate. So yeah, that was fun. I mean, maybe I'll turn it into an episode. I don't know.
Hey, learn how to actually rock climb.
Yeah,
cool.
Learn how to rock climb. Yeah,
that
no, yeah. It was a great week.
Glad to hear it, buddy.
Heck yeah.
Glad to hear it. So, I guess okay. What's been bothering me?
What's been bothering you?
Ever since the last episode, we decided to talk about which topics we were going to choose.
Exactly.
And for the life of me, I live in Texas, and as you know, there are tons of bulls in
Oh yeah,
Texas,
definitely.
and I don't know how to take care of them because they're everywhere and they're running into the road. They're driving me nuts. They're trying to beat my car up. How do I combat these bulls? How do I keep them away from my home and family? Because they're evil, you know.
I'd be concerned if your car was getting attacked in a metropolitan area.
Well, it happens. The bulls, they're everywhere, man. You don't even know. They're just running through the streets.
Well, lucky for you, I just so happen to be an expert on bullfighting.
Oh, thank the Lord.
So-
You have blessed me. Thank you.
Okay, let's dive into this thing. So, I got some origins of bullfighting. It's a little short, but here it goes. The origins of bullfighting is not 100% known. Of course, there are many theories, but the most likely of them, in my opinion, is a culmination of multiple influences from several different cultures. Some of these cultures include ancient Rome, where combat and spectacle was common with domesticated bulls who ran away from their farms. There are also excavated ancient depictions of bull-related sport in the Minoan civilization, imagery of people grasping their horns and vaulting over them, and of course, the gladiator games.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to Spanish culture, it's believed that the first bullfight of Spain was held in honor of King Alfonso VIII at his coronation.
Oh.
And that's about it.
Oh. Well, okay then.
Now, as far as the cultural outlook, modern day, you might say, let's get one thing straight. From the point of view of an outsider, a tourist, bullfighting can be very upsetting. There's a lot of blood and danger, and it can be saddening to see how helpless these animals are during a fight. And to be fair, there are very, very, very few places in the world where bullfighting is still legal. However, the Spanish view bullfighting in a very different light. In medieval Spain, becoming a famous bullfighter was one of only a few ways to grab your golden ticket out of poverty. Even modern-day bullfighters are treated like gods, showered in praise, riches, and glory. And right along with that is the outlook of the sport itself, where a tourist sees animal cruelty, a native sees an artistic dance of death. A popular matador of the 21st century, Enrique Ponce, says this about bullfighting. This is much more than just killing a bull, or a fight between a man and a beast. It's more. It's a feeling, something of beauty. We create art with a fierce, courageous, and strong animal. He also has commented on the life of luxury that the bulls lead before being subjected to this sport, saying, "This is not just a bull that you see anywhere or another type of bull, like a bull raised for meat. No, this is a bull that is born and bred with great care, who lives 4 years in the countryside, raised with lots of love by cattle breeders for the purpose of bullfighting." All of that to say that a notable size of the Spanish population has a great passion for the sport, and they find joy in being an audience to the spectacle. Now, that being said, there is also another notable portion of the Spanish population who disagrees with bullfighting and who sees it like the rest of the world being, a sort of animal cruelty. So, the pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah. So, okay. So pushing the morality aside,
of course, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Push it all aside.
Push it all aside.
Suppress it deep down inside. Don't ever let it out.
This is America. So of course, I had the problem of the bulls attacking my car. How do I fight them? How do I fight them off? How do I play this little game, so to speak?
Well, like I previously mentioned, it's more of a ritual or a dance than a game, really. So put on your dancing shoes there, Zach. But it goes a little something like this. First off, the audience members wait for hours and hours and hours before the event. And I almost kind
Awful.
of feel like that's a part of it. Like, like I guess the social aspect of, and sort of like hypening like the event itself. Like it
Mm-hmm.
just, as the hour comes closer and the, stands fill up more and more with people, it just sort of like the anticipation rises. So several hours before the fight, the audience is there.
Mm-hmm. That sounds terrible.
Well, they're trying to get good seats. Um, at the beginning of the event, the bull is released into the ring. Now, at this point, he is completely healthy. No one has tampered with him at all. Then a few banderilleros step out into the ring. What is a banderillero? Essentially, just a member, a cast member of the bullfight, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to a rodeo clown, their purpose is to step in and help with keeping a bull occupied. Their presence at the beginning, like this, is to simply show off how fierce the bull is before they actually start doing any damage to him. With multiple
Mm-hmm.
targets for the bull to get distracted by, there's little danger involved at this point. After a few minutes of taunting, another cast member known as a picador enters the ring on horseback. Although the horse is armored with heavy leathers, it will most likely die during this next portion. The picador
Oh.
on horseback has one main job, and that is to stab the bull in the back of the neck with a polearm. He specifically aims for the
Oh.
muscle that the bull uses to lift up his head. All the while, the bull attacks the mildly protected horse like crazy. Once that is over, the banderilleros have a further task of spiking a handful of sharp sticks known as banderilla. They aim for the same muscles on the neck, further weakening the bull, but also making him a little angrier as well.
Hmm.
Finally, the matador, the star of the show, enters the ring entirely alone. This is where it gets a little dangerous, being that there's only one target to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And this also, begins the portion of the show that most people are familiar with. The matador taunts the bull with his cape, dancing around the bull and flaunting his sword. But by now, the bull is exhausted, and so one of the objectives of the matador is to see just how close he can get to the bull without injury. Once the bull has had enough, the matador lines up a killing blow. He beckons the bull for a charge that seems almost directly at the matador. However, at the very last second, when the bull lowers his head to plunge his horns, the matador slips his sword through the bull's shoulder blades and ultimately through the bull's heart.
Oh.
The bull has very little fight left at this point, and so the matador grabs another sword in order to pull the first one out of the bull. Moments later, the bull collapses to the ground, and a banderillero stabs a dagger to the bull's brain to put him out of his misery.
Oh my goodness.
Now,
Is that that sounds awful?
it does sound awful, and I think probably the reason why it's awful. Let's clear that up. It's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah. No, that's bad.
It does seem a little bit more elegant than me just kind of explaining it all when you're actually
Mm-hmm.
watching it. There's there's a massive amount of respect for the bull.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say that. It's not like, we're making fun of the bull or anything like that. I think ultimately the outlook is this is a, big muscular thing of, killing proportion. And so I guess it's a, form of, let's, we're mastering death. There's no fear of death during this event.
Right. Because like if you were to just leave the bull undamaged, it would not be a fair fight. That bull would just kill that.
Yeah, they would. I don't
Most
know.
likely.
I don't know.
I think.
I don't know. I would be curious to see that. Because like the fighting techniques of like the actual like the cape. Obviously that's a huge part of it, and I guess maybe it's just the skill of the matador. But he makes it look darn
Maybe.
easy. It makes it look pretty darn easy. Um, but yeah. Now there are some fights where and I believe it's a matador's discretion. But if he
Mhm.
thinks like the bull like put up a really good fight, or had really good behavior or something like that,
Yeah.
then it's possible for a bull to be quote unquote pardoned.
Mm.
And at that point the bull would be left to live a life of luxury, most likely. Um, but otherwise, most bulls die and end up being processed,
Like usual. Yeah.
like to eat or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably a bull's head trophy for somebody, or whatever. Um, Now, Zach, unfortunately, as far as you and as far as our listeners becoming a bullfighter, it's just not going to happen unless you move to Spain. Like I said before, it's illegal in the vast majority of the world. So,
Oh
yeah,
well,
not going to happen.
I guess I'll have to just get animal control to get the bull to stop attacking my car, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Oh, well, all right then. Hey, good peoples. If you're enjoying the show, please take some time to recommend to just one of your friends this week. It really helps us grow. We don't have any sort of marketing money, so this is our advertisement to you, and we rely entirely on the word of mouth. So if you can do what you can to help us, we'd be eternally grateful. Also, if you want, you can send in a 10 or 15-second original music clip if you're musically inclined. We'd love to showcase some of your talents, you know, to any of the listeners who listen to our episodes every week. It'd be really cool. Like, we love music. Send it our way. Or if you just like a song, tweet it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Something.
I wish I could. Like, I wish I could, like, puppet master a guitar and create a great music clip. Um, if that makes any sense.
That kind of.
Okay, I tried. You see what I'm getting at.
It's a little stretch, but you know what? I can help with the puppet part if that interests
But
you.
not the guitar part.
Not the guitar
Okay.
part. No, unfortunately, I think you either have to have like a backing track or someone else playing the guitar at the same time. But that's just my assumption. Um, but yeah, puppetry. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit.
Do it.
Cool. So when one thinks about puppets, you might think about your childhood, making sock puppets with your parents or in your grade school classes, using like little googly eyes and making silly voices. You may also think of the little finger puppets you buy at a Scholastic book fair. Well, the puppet I was most fond with was this little fuzzy dog marionette that I had when I was around like 4 or 5 years old. Um, good times indeed. But did you know that puppetry as an art form has been around for many hundreds of years?
I didn't know that.
Well, now you know. It's been around forever. So I'll talk a little bit about the origins, kind of, because much like bullfighting, it's not really sure where it came from. Um, so puppetry was practiced in ancient Greece, and the oldest written records of puppetry can be found in the works of Herodotus and Xenophon, dating from the 5th century BC. The Greek word translated as puppet is nevropestos, however you say that, which is literally drawn by strings, um, from nevron, meaning either sinew, tendon, muscle, and spou, however you say that, meaning draw or pull. Aristotle, who we talked about previous episode, I believe, discusses puppets in his work on the motion of animals. The movements of animals may be compared with those of automatic puppets, which are set going on the occasion of a tiny movement. The levers are released and strike the twisted strings against one another. What's interesting is that close to around the same time in India, puppetry was practiced from around ancient times and is known by many different names in different parts of the country. Excavation of clay dolls from Indus Valley sites serve as an indication of this fact. The art of puppetry, called Bamalatam, is mentioned in Tamil literature. Silapa, I'm going to butcher this one. Nope, can't even say it. So, it's a really important book. Starts with an S, written around second century BC. So there you go.
Well, I
However,
know what to Google now. Important book starts with an S.
Tamil literature. I'll spell it. Okay, Silappadiram. There you go.
Okay.
Google that. Yeah, you're welcome. I can't speak today. Anyway, these were not the only cultures to see the production of puppet mastery in their regions.
Wow. You know, there's you listed some cultures there.
Yeah, two.
Two. Do you got any more than that?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
I'm
let's
getting there.
give them to me.
Gosh. Okay. So I'll go through some examples of different styles of puppetry, from different regions. One of my personal favorite forms has to be shadow puppetry.
Oh.
So a shadow puppet is a cutout figure held between a source of light and a translucent screen.
Yeah,
Shadow puppets
I can do the dog with my fingers.
No,
Yeah.
that's not the same. No,
Ah.
not the same. Not the same.
Okay,
No,
whatever.
see, shadow puppetry is a little more complex. It's like that. It's similar. You're close.
Go ahead. No, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no problem. No, yeah, thank you. um, shadow puppets can form solid silhouettes or be decorated with various amounts of cutout details. Color can be introduced into the cutout shapes to provide a different dimension, and different effects can be achieved by moving the puppet or light source in and out of focus. Javanese shadow puppets from Java and Indonesia, also known as the wayang kulit, are the classic example of this. In China, shadow puppetry became popular in the Song Dynasty, which is really neat. I don't know if you ever really want an example, I would go look up shadow puppetry. It is fascinating, so fascinating. I love it. It's amazing. Imagine, okay, picture in your mind's eye. You have it's not a. You have this white screen. You know, it looks like you would you'd put a projection onto. You have a light source, and then you have this puppet made out of paper, which you can control with various sticks or rods or however you want to control it. And you move that puppet around, move its various body parts around, and it's the shadows create the scene, or et cetera, et cetera. It's really fascinating. Go look it up on YouTube. Another style of puppetry is bunraku. Bunraku puppets are a type of wood-carved puppet, originally made to stand out through torch illumination. It was developed in Japan over 1,000 years ago and formalized to combine with shamisen music at the end of the 16th century. So the puppeteers dressed to remain neutral against a black background. So they would dress in all black and cover their faces, and et cetera, et cetera. Although their presence as kind of a shadow figure adds a mysterious power to the puppet. Traditionally, bunraku uses 3 puppeteers to operate a puppet that varies from 1/3 to 1/2 life size. So that's a big puppet,
right,
made out of wood to move.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Next up, we have the merote puppet. It is a simplified rod puppet that is just a head and or a body on a stick. It was used by jesters in Renaissance times. In merote e main prenante, the puppeteer's other arm emerges from the body, which is just a cloth drape, to act as the puppet's arm. Some merotes have a small string running through the stick attached to the handle at the bottom. When the handle is squeezed, the mouth opens. And let's see, finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about water puppets. So a water puppet is a Vietnamese puppet form. I'm going to mispronounce this, the Mua Roi Nuak. I'm sure I said it wrong. It literally translates to dance underwater or dancing underwater. This is an ancient tradition that dates back to the 10th century. The puppets are built out of wood, surprisingly, and the shows are performed in a waist-deep pool. A large rod supports the puppet from under the water and is used by the puppeteers to control them. The appearance of the puppets is like the puppets look like they're moving over the water, like they're walking on it. So what's interesting is that a little bit of the origin on that, when the rice fields would flood, villagers would entertain each other using this puppet form. So the water also provides the setting for traditional stories depicting day-to-day village life. Water puppets bring some wry humor to scenes of farming, fishing, festival events, buffalo fights, and children's games of marbles and coin toss. Fishing turns into a game of wits between the fisherman and its prey, and the fisherman getting the short end of the stick, etc., etc. Um, Besides village life, scenes could include legends and national history. Lion dogs romp like puppies, while dragons exhale fire and smoke and shoot sprays of water at the audience. I want to go see this at some point. Um, it sounds like a lot of fun. Performances typically take up to 18 short scenes and are usually introduced by a pig-tailed bumpkin known as a tew and accompanied by a small folk orchestra.
Now, there are few things in this world, Zach, that I am a legitimate expert in.
Okay, yeah.
But one of those things would be, well, I won't call myself an expert in theater because that's a very broad spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a degree in theater. And
Yeah.
one of the lovely things that I got to learn about in my I guess journey of knowledge for that degree
Yeah, if you will.
was actually the bunraku that you mentioned earlier, which was to refresh the audience memories because they just got bombarded with a crap ton of different styles.
Yeah.
That was the one that involved 3 puppet masters controlling one third to half sized, life-sized puppet. And like the puppet masters, like wear all black against a black background, so it looks like the puppets moving themselves. What I wanted to add to that you missed was just how seriously that they take that. Well, I mean, all these art forms really. Art is such a huge portion of Chinese culture. But to give an example, out of stuff that I just know out of the back of my head, bunraku is sort of like it's sort of like there's like a system involved to which portion of the puppet that you control. You start out, as a beginner, you are just in charge of the feet, and that's it, and that's all you do. You study nothing but the feet. You move nothing but the feet for like 5 or 6 years straight, and like that's your profession. Like this is all you do is you move puppet feet for a living.
That's fun.
You then move to, after 6 years of mastering feet, you then move to the left arm by itself, and you do that for 5 or 6 years, and you just control the left arm for these shows, and then you finally become like the master. Like you have 2 apprentices below you controlling a left arm and 2 feet, and you become the master who then controls the head and the right arm. So there's my little actual expertise input. You're welcome.
Hey, well, thank you. That was really cool.
But
I didn't get that into that.
But that being said, a lot of the same attention to detail and commitment is applied to most Chinese art forms.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shadow puppetry, especially. I would definitely watch some videos on that.
But apart from China, what about puppets in other cultures?
Well, yeah. Sure. I mean, what's amazing about puppetry is that the art can be adapted and mixed to create new ways to perform. So I'm going to tell you a little bit some more modern takes on it. Here's some that you might be more familiar with. A hand puppet or a glove puppet is a puppet controlled by one hand, which occupies the interior of the puppet. Punch and Judy puppets are familiar examples of hand puppeteering. Larger varieties of hand puppets place the puppeteer's hand in just the puppet's head, controlling the mouth and the head. The puppet's body hangs over the entire arm. Other parts of the puppet, mainly the arms, are usually not much larger than the hand itself. Often, the mouth can also open and close, and special variants exist with eyelids that can be manipulated. A sock puppet is also a simple type of hand puppet made from just a sock. Moving on, something a bit more complicated is a rod puppet. Now, this is a puppet constructed around a central rod secured to the head. A large glove covers the rod and is attached to the neck of the puppet. A rod puppet is controlled by the puppeteer moving the metal rods attached to the hands of the puppet or any other limb and turning the central rod secured to the head. The best known examples of rod puppets are Jim Henson's Muppets, most notably Muppet characters such as Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Gonzos, etc.,
Mm.
etc. Many Sesame Street characters, Elmo, Bert, Grover, and the main cast of Fraggle Rock. Um, Moving on, another modern take on it is carnival puppets, also known as body puppets. Now, this is fascinating. Um, they're usually designed to be a large, like part of a large spectacle, or sometimes for TV shows. You ever seen the sitcom Dinosaurs
I don't think
or seen
so.
advertisements for it? No.
No.
Well, it's that's an example of a body puppet. It's a person dressed up in a full costume, but parts of it is are puppeteered, which is neat.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, these types of puppets are often used in parades, like the May Day Parade in Minneapolis, the Cape Town Carnival in South Africa, and other demonstrations. And they're at least the size of a human. Sometimes they're much, much larger. One or more performers are required to move the body and limbs. In parades, the appearance and personality of the person inside is not relevant to the spectator. These puppets are particularly associated with large scale entertainment, such as nightly parades at various Disney complexes around the world. Similar puppets were designed by Taymor for The Lion King. Um, the Jim Henson Company also has their own versions of the puppets. Sesame Street characters like Big Bird and Mr. Snuffleupagus, as well as the titular character from Bear in the Big Blue House, are popular examples of this type of puppet. Um, a little fun fact, some fun facts. Did you know? I don't know if you've watched the TV show The Mandalorian recently.
No,
Um,
I haven't.
no,
I've been
it's
meaning to.
pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. They use body puppets,
Okay.
and they also have one of the characters is a short character. Um, they have a main actress playing the body of the character, and then they have another person controlling the animatronic or the puppeteering, the head, and the eye movements. Which I don't know if you've ever tried to act alongside a puppet. It's not easy. Try to act inside a puppet. It takes a special amount of talent to do something like that, or work and training. But yeah, how would you even do puppetry if it sounds so intimidating? There's so many different styles.
Mm.
How would you get into it? Can you just pick up a puppet and do a show? Yeah, no. Obviously, one thing you'll notice about the puppet of your choice is that it has its limitations. If you choose, say, a sock puppet, you're not going to get Jim Henson quality talking out of it. Unless you really work at it. Especially like if you're the only puppeteer, um, if it's a larger puppet, you're not going to do that great of a job. And working with other people, like with a bunraku, you have to learn how to work together to move that puppet as if it were a real person or a real thing. So what do? Play around with it. If you decide to make a puppet, or if you decide to research different puppetry, you want to try something, play with it. Find out what kinds of creative movements you can do to move it. If it's like a creature, like a bird or something, try to think about how that creature would move in real life and try imitating that. So yeah, that's my little 2 cents on puppetry.
Nice. I'm really glad that you did puppetry because I feel like there is a lack of appreciation for puppetry, and it's
Absolutely.
getting used less and less in today's entertainment. And
Mm-hmm.
there's just something so magical about like a puppet versus computerized, imagery.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
although the first CGI movie being Jurassic Park, that was mind blowing technology, especially for its time. But as an example, John Carpenter's The Thing, which was released in 1982. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you've seen that, but it's the horror buff that I am is it's a very gory movie
Oh yeah.
involving aliens that take over human bodies and then they sort of just
Mm-hmm.
explode into these gore fest, just like lumps of masses of flesh.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of puppetry involved in that.
Oh yeah.
But if you watch The Thing and then you watch The Thing 2, you jump from, live, puppets that are handcrafted by master, like prop masters and are super cool looking. You jump from that to CGI,
Yeah, and you can tell a
gore
difference.
monsters, and they're just it's terrible.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm glad that the Mandalorian is incorporating puppetry, and I think I think more artists should do that. More cinematographers, more directors, more whatever, anything, everything.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. What's also fascinating is that you did mention Jurassic Park. The While it wasn't full CGI, the byproduct, or not the byproduct, but the main aspect of the dinosaur was an animatronic, and then they layered CGI over it to make it look more realistic.
Yeah,
it's what they also did for Baby Yoda in the Mandalorian. He's a puppet. He's controlled by a puppeteer with a couple puppeteers. One of them controls the ears and the eyes. The other one controls the head movements or the mouth, etc., with different remote controls. Yeah, so it takes multiple puppets to run that little guy. And what's fascinating is that whenever they had just only CGI product on the screen, they limited the character's movements to be based on the puppet. So if the puppet couldn't do whatever they wanted to do in CGI, right. They didn't let it do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. I mean, I love puppetry. I researched it in high school. Oh man, it's so fun.
Yeah.
But well, do you want to talk about what we're doing next time?
Yes. So for Christmas, my brother really wanted a set of chainmail for him to wear because he's recently gotten into Renfest.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I mean, if you don't know this, chainmail is extremely expensive. So instead, my mother got him the tools to make his own chainmail.
Oh, okay.
And I was a little jealous, to say the least. So I legitimately want to, figure this out. I want to figure out how to make chainmail. And I've already, done a little bit of research. So I think this is one where I legitimately want to order a few things and actually try it and, give my take on how trying something for the first time went. So
okay,
we'll see how it goes. This is my okay. It's time to stop talking about it and actually do it. Motivation.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Okay. I love that idea. Yeah. So you're going to be doing.
I'm going to be doing how to make chainmail. Yeah.
How to make chainmail. Fascinating. So I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about alchemy, I guess.
Oh boy.
So I can create the metal for your chainmail.
Oh yeah.
You got coal, I'll turn it into gold, baby.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's come to the end of the show, and we've got to give our last year welcome, our final goodbye.
You've wasted another hour of your life.
I know, I'm so sorry. Listening to us fools. But Drew, before we go, would you mind telling our listeners how they can get in contact with us?
I would love to. Hey, we have a Twitter account, and the handle is at You're Welcome PO1. That's YOURE. You're Welcome PO1. You can mention us in a tweet, ask us questions, direct messages, whatever you want to do. We are at your disposal 24/7, 365 days a week. Never hesitate.
Tweet.
Tweet. If you want a more professional relationship with us, you are welcome to email us at yourwelcomequestions@gmail.com. That's YOURE.
That's you're welcome.
Oh, don't interrupt me.
I'm sorry.
That's YOURE without the apostrophe. yourwelcomequestions@gmail.com. Send us questions that you have about making chainmail or how you mayhaps turn coal into gold. And
if you have need any advice, I don't know.
If you need it, you've tried chainmail making before and you're getting stumped at this one part and you need advice, if you got this 15-second music clip, send them there. Just send us everything. Send us all the stuff you have.
Tell us your life story.
Tell us your life story.
Don't.
I'll read it all, I promise. We also have a Facebook group, so go scout that one out. I usually set up an event to remind people of when the next episode comes out. And you are free to, talk about the previous episode with fellow listeners. So yeah, go check that stuff out too. You're welcome.
Thank you. Finally, someone said it all and wasn't interrupted
Yeah,
halfway through. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, with that being said, I want to thank you all for joining us, all you bullfighting puppeteered people. I'm Zach.
I'm Drew.
And we'll see you next time on You're welcome.